So Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is releasing in under a month from now. And man, dude, with every passing day, I just get more and more excited. This is going to be one of the best Dragon Ball game releases of all time, man. And in fact, I'm gonna ask you guys, let me know what your most excited thing about Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is in the comments below. I just want to hear from you guys to spread the excitement, and especially with the recent Dragon Ball GT character trailer that, was, of course, was in no way or shape leaked or anything. Right, guys? Right? But it was still a really good trailer. Very fun to watch. I think getting a lot of these characters like Super Saiyan 4 Goku, Baby, and of course the big boy Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta officially confirmed for the base roster. Like when the game launches, that character will be there. I think you'll have to unlock him, of course, but he will be there, which is really, really nice. However, there is one thing that a lot of people are talking about, and that is missing GT characters. While we did get a really good amount of characters for GT, 15 in total, which is honestly like a nice amount overall, I think that there's some that are just like really not shown, and we're gonna talk about that today. We're gonna talk about what's gonna go on with those characters and how could we expect them to be implemented in Sparking Zero in the future. But let's just hop right into things. So firstly, Super 17, man, I'm like, where is that guy? He is one of the major antagonists for Dragon Ball GT. Between Baby, him, and Omega, we saw Super Baby 1, Super Baby 2, even just Baby Vegeta, like all three of those forms. We saw Sin Shenron, we saw Omega Shenron, but Super 17 was literally not in there. There's nothing from the Super 17 saga shown, which disappointed a lot of people because, Super 17 does look cool. Like, I think his design is really good. And while it's in the series, he kind of fell a little flat for me in terms of, like, character and everything like that. I think he has some cool moves, and it'd be nice to get other Android characters, I think, in the game as well, just diversifying the roster. And it's really weird that he's not there. Honestly, I think that there's like a non-zero chance that they're just hiding this guy for whatever reason. Maybe, again, I expect we'll see some trailers upcoming still within the next few weeks. It's possible this guy is just like hidden in one of those trailers because he's part of that trailer's theme, and they're like, yeah, this trailer will take too much time if we also include 17, so we're just gonna put him somewhere else. That's like a really viable like outcome. But I would say at the same time, man, we know how these games work, bro. They could very easily have Super 17 as one of the boys, like, on the actual, like, they have a GT DLC pack is out now, and then, like, Super 17 is plastered on the cover, and they're like, oh boy, Super 17, one of the villains for GT, Like, that's a non-zero possibility, and I want to make sure you guys are also, like, ready for that, right? I feel like considering that they had Baby and Omega in the base roster, though, I'm leaning towards him potentially being hidden, though. But let me know what you guys are thinking there. Of course, that's not the only like versions of characters that are missing. There are two other villains that I think, could really be represented. One of them was actually in BT3, and that is Nova Shenron. And of course, along with him, Ice Shenron, I think, will be included. Ice Shenron was, like, not in BT3, again, from what I'm recalling at the top of my head. But Nova was, right? Nova, again, I think Nova is, like, I would say, like, if we're going to rank the Shadow Dragons in terms of, like, their popularity, it would be Sin and Omega at the top. I think it would be Nova, and then Ice as third, right? Maybe we could even see Oceana Shenron. Maybe she can make an appearance, right? I think that'd be cool as well. But, like, those are kind of, like, the big Shadow Dragons I think a lot of people remember. When you think of the Shadow Dragons, you're usually going to think of mostly Omega and Nova, sometimes Ice. I think are, again, the big three, like I said. So them not being in the roster potentially is, kind of disappointing, at least in my opinion. I actually do like Nova Shenron a lot. Ice Shenron, he kind of has some cool things that could work with them. Again, I like the fire and ice, of course. And another thing is, I would say with those two, it might be more likely that they're saving them for like some or not necessarily saving them, but it's like they decided they're not going to be in the base roster, and in the future will make them part of a DLC pack, because they're just gonna come to a point where they're not gonna be able to get every single character that was in the original game and represent every single series to its fullest in the base roster. Now, we did see the confirmation on the actual game cover recently that was shown to us that there's 180 plus characters in the game, so there is some wiggle room, or maybe they could just like, we'll just slide Nova Shenron in there, we'll slide Super 17 in there, right? But from here on out, after these characters, I think everyone else pretty much will be DLC, right? Everyone else that I'm gonna mention anyways. And we can move on to Vegeta, right? We did see Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, but I've seen a lot of people being like, oh, there's no base Vegeta, there's no Super Saiyan Vegeta, right? And that specific, like, Super Saiyan Vegeta did have a important role in the Super 17 saga. Super Saiyan Vegeta literally went to try and stop Omega Shenron as well, and that's where we see, like, Vegeta get like impaled by Omega and then shocked by lightning, which is that's a crazy scene, by the way. That scene was really insane. Super Saiyan 2 GT Goku's not there, and it's like, I personally, I'm a big Super Saiyan 2 fan, so I'm like, I would have liked to see Super Saiyan 2 GT Goku. He does some things in the series. They just didn't have him in the roster because, again, I just think that it's a thing where there's just not gonna be enough slots, and they're like, if we're gonna sacrifice someone, we're just gonna take out Super Saiyan 2 GT Goku. And besides, wait, was he actually in the base roster? Yeah, looking at it, he actually is not in the base roster for Sparking Zero, or for Budokai Tenkaichi 3, my bad. So that's probably why he was not included in Sparking Zero. But it'd be nice just to get him in the future, just to have the option of Super Saiyan 2 GT Goku. Trunks, just in its entirety, GT Trunks is not represented. We could, I guess, get like a costume of, like, I don't know, would it be like fighter Trunks? Like, the Trunks in the Saiyan armor. Maybe we get like a GT Trunks costume for him. Maybe it could even be the Sword Trunks that we get a GT Trunks costume, right? I mean, I know that in Xenoverse, right, GT Trunks was actually just a costume for the Sword Trunks, right? So they could do that, and that's how, like, GT Trunks is represented. At this point, though, given what the game Budokai Tenkaichi 3 and, Sparking Zero is kind of like, I would assume that in the future they'll just add him as his own separate character. I think, he's different enough, and he has some different moves to make him into a separate character in its entirety. There's also Rildo, right? And I think this is like one of the not so like big villains, but still, like, talk about GT, and then I think one of the villains people could think about is Rildo, right? Like, if we talk about GT villains, again, like I said, Baby, Omega, Super 17, Nova, and then, like, I think Rildo is probably in that discussion of like, oh yeah, Rildo, he's kind of chill. I think Rildo on his different forms, he has some interesting kind of powers. The whole, like, Metal Rildo especially, I think could be really cool to see, and hopefully, I guess in the future he'll be added. And I'm thinking of, like, like all these characters as a DLC pack right there. I think that to kind of really tie everything together, they could give us another Super Saiyan 4 Goku, right? Now you may be thinking, well, what do you mean by that? There's actually full power Super Saiyan 4 Goku, where he has the red hue, and that's when he absorbs everyone's, like, energy, I guess, in, like, kind of like the Saiyan ritual thing, but not really. And then he uses that against Baby, and he uses that against Omega. Specifically, there's a Dragon Fist move that he does against Omega, where he, like, punches Omega right in the, like, the gut, and then the dragon goes through. It's different from the Dragon Fist we saw in the trailer that he does against Ice Shenron. Like, he does Dragon Fist twice in GT, in Super Saiyan 4. There's the normal Super Saiyan 4 Dragon Fist, but then there's also the full power Super Saiyan 4 Goku Dragon Fist. I think, like, selling him as a separate character DLC slot, even though he's very similar to just the normal Super Saiyan 4 Goku, there are some different moves they can give him, and especially that Dragon Fist could be really cool to see. And I think that'd be something they're like, oh yeah, this would be great to sell this DLC pack with Ice Shenron, and, with, like, Hyper Metal Rildo or Base GT Vegeta, you know what I mean? From there, maybe they could add Goku Jr., right? And just another character when I throw in that ring, just Goku Jr. and stuff like that. If we're talking about, like, future DLC, or, I guess a hidden GT character, Goku Jr., I'm not really sure if they would really do that. And then my editor asked for this one to be included, but there's of course the best character of them all, the Para brothers, bro. They can go crazy. Imagine them dancing and stunning the enemy. That'd be really funny. But there's all there is in terms of GT, and everyone that's like at the top of my head that I was thinking of. If I missed anyone, let me know what you guys want to see in the comments below, whether it's the characters that I missed or it's characters from this list. I mean, again, I could have said like GT Gohan, I could have said GT Goten, but if like characters like that are closer to being just costumes compared to, again, someone like Super 17, obviously, or even like GT Trunks. I think he has a lot more of a move list to him that could really be implemented as a full character. But that's it for me. Thanks y'all for watching, of course. Subscribe if you did enjoy the video, and I will, of course, be doing much more Sparking Zero content. Again, especially when the game comes out, y'all, it's gonna be crazy. Of course, I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.